Well, what's up, everybody, and welcome to Inside the Game, your only source for everything in video games. Don't forget, you can be a part of our show. All you have to do is go to insidethegame.ca or hit us up on our Discord, where there you can submit your clip and end off our show. What do we have coming up on today's episode? Well, here it is. It's the rundown.
This week I'm checking out the stylish streets of SCOT City.
Last week I checked out the Rival 650 wireless mouse by SteelSeries, and we're going to continue on in the same fashion, but we're going to check out the Apex Pro mechanical gaming keyboard. So stick around.
So they go to Sony, they say, hey, you guys have a crap communication system. Let's do something about it. You know what I mean? That's probably not how the conversation exactly
Probably
went.
not.
But let's get real here. That's what PlayStation needs. And the fact...
Alright, Scott, this week we got our hands on a game that's in early access, Chernobylite. And to be fair, this game is a blend of a ton of genres to make in my opinion, a very good experience.
3 hours grinding, then someone, woo, and then it lost those times. Like, I learned a lot, but now let's do something else, let's play 2K or something.
Well, that looks like another awesome show, so let's get started. Here he is. It's Corey with SCOT City.
This week I'm checking out the stylish streets of SCOT City. This week I'm checking out a really cool 2.5D side-scrolling skateboarding title on the Nintendo Switch called SCOT City. This is actually a really cool kind of stylistic looking game that has some kind of interesting mechanics that kind of separate it from other games that are similar to this side-scrolling skateboarding style. And honestly, jumping into this one, I had a ton of fun. I'm a big fan of this style of game already, so I was excited to get right in. The first thing I noticed is that when you first jump in, they do a really good job of kind of laying out the control scheme for you, so you kind of get the basic idea of the maneuvers you can kind of, learn how to do right from the get-go outside of some of the things you can unlock later on. And I thought they did a good job because they kind of just throw you into the random level and kind of just get you with a random skateboarder, and you just go in and the controls are displayed right there on screen for you, so you get a good handle of it, because this game's kind of all about the mastery. It's pretty easy to pick up, but to master is one thing. And there's a huge kind of, trick book here to go through. There's a lot of different ones you can learn, and there's a lot of ones you can kind of chain together in different combos, whether it be, grinds, spins, anything to do with flip tricks, there's grabs as well. There's a ton of different things you can do in this game, and that was actually one of the big things I really liked getting in. There was a ton of content here, and this game's only $10. I was impressed with the number of customization options offered here. There's a skate shop right from the main menu that you can visit and use the in-game currency skate credits that you earn from completing the challenges to be able to afford some of the different outfits and different boards, and there's also different tricks and also skills that you can use to upgrade to be able to kind of just get that, a little bit extra out of your skater in these levels. There's 3 levels we're going to be going through here: LA, Oslo, and Barcelona. You also have to use skate credits to unlock those last 2 levels. But I was really, pleasantly surprised to see the amount of customization options here. I mean, we can go through and change, shirts, pants, shoes, sunglasses, hats. There's a ton of different boards, different trucks, wheels. I mean, there's a little bit of everything here. And I mean, the fact that this is only a $10 game is huge. I mean, we're getting these options that really you don't necessarily think you're going to get for a game at this value. So, I mean, I was pretty happy to see this, and it was kind of nice to be able to just kind of customize things and, personalize my experience throughout this one. Each city has its own list of challenges, and the cool part is there's a bunch of different styles of challenges that you get to complete, whether it's just score based or maybe trick on spot, where you actually have to complete a certain trick that it asks for. It shows you on screen which trick it wants you to do, even shows you the button combination, which is pretty cool, and it wants you to complete it over or in the spot on the screen. There'll be a little kind of circle on the ground that you have to do the trick over. There's races, whether you're running from cops or racing another skater, I was a little disappointed because this game is only single player, so I thought this would be a good spot where you could actually have multiplayer, whether it's co-op or online. You could have another skater to kind of chase down, or even just a ghost skater to go up score for score with, and that was something that was kind of missing, which I was a little disappointed about. But again, this is a really low cost game at $10, so you can only expect so much, and so far this game really has been delivering. I had a lot of fun with the challenges. I thought, to get the 3-star rating on every level, it wasn't necessarily easy. The nice part is you don't have to get 3 stars to advance to the next one. You just have to get 1 and kind of keep going, and you can complete the entire list and then go back and play and try to get those other stars if you really want to. Because the nice part is the more stars you get, the more skate credits you actually get back. So depending on how much money you're spending, which you actually have to watch for, because I made the mistake of just buying a bunch of gear and then realizing I didn't have enough money to actually unlock the next world. So I had to go back and play through LA again and try to actually get more skate credits to unlock the next levels. So that's just something to watch out for. By far my favorite mode in this game is the camera mode. There's certain challenges in each level where you actually have to submit a photo set and hopefully get 5 stars to be able to complete the challenge. And there's a camera mode that you enter by pressing down left on the D-pad, and you get to start recording. And what you can do is actually change your skater's camera angle. You can zoom in a little bit, turn to one side, whether it's forward or backwards a little bit. You can toggle fisheye lens where you get that real wide look, where you can just go back to standard camera. There's slow-mo you can toggle, which is really, really cool. It's kind of neat because you can toggle it, in the air in the middle of your trick. You can do a trick, and then when you land, it'll actually automatically toggle it off for you, which is kind of nice. You don't have to worry about pressing the button right after you land, because you're landing other tricks and you're trying to chain things together. You're not worried about turning off that slow-mo. So it is intuitive in that sense, and I thought this mode looked really awesome. It was difficult to get those 5-star photo shoots, let me tell you. They do give you tips at the end of each one when you submit them. They're a little vague, but they do help especially if you're just getting going with it. This is definitely a mode I think that people will find themselves playing in a lot, where they just toggle this camera mode on and kind of mess with the camera angles. It gives you an interesting perspective on this game. Overall, I had a great time playing Skate City. I mean, this game's only $10 and there's a ton of playtime here. There's a ton of replayability. Like I said, the controls are easy to pick up, but definitely mastering them takes a bit of time. And again, you get so immersed into that camera mode. The camera mode looks so good. I had such a good time playing this one. The lo-fi audio throughout just really added this kind of level of immersion, and it just chilled you out. You could throw back, sit on the couch, and just have a good time playing this one. Honestly, I gotta give it an 8 out of 10. The smooth graphics and chill lo-fi music really set the tone. With lots of challenges spread across 3 cities, you'll have plenty to explore and master. But once mastered, you may find things get a little repetitive.
Last week I checked out the Rival 650 wireless mouse by SteelSeries, and we're going to continue on in the same fashion, but we're going to check out the Apex Pro mechanical gaming keyboard. So stick around. After taking out the keyboard from the box, it seemed relatively standard. Nothing too unique really stood out except for, well, there's the display. The Oled display is right there, which brings a multitude of functions, allowing you to tap in deeper into the keyboard, as well as a multimedia port, allowing you to adjust the volume, which is kind of a highlight for me. Super simple, quick, accessible is what the name of the game is here, and it has Omni point switches. Wow. You might be asking, if you're new to the world of gaming keyboards, and why is this such a big deal? Well, in simple terms, it allows you to adjust the sensitivity on how quick some of these mechanical keys or switches will activate. So if you're in a game and you want to get on the movement quicker, it allows you with a simple press of the button and you're off and running, or you can completely adjust it to bottom out the key. A very cool feature and something unique when it comes to the world of gaming. If you sometimes maybe throw the grenade by accident and don't mean to, well, now you can adjust that completely and not have to worry about maybe grenading yourself or your buddies that are nearby. The OLED Smart Display is a unique feature. It is customizable if you want to put in your own graphic. Don't expect anything too high intense when it comes to this display. It is unique, but it's more or less for a function, and that purpose is to be able to go into the keyboard and completely adjust it all together. By holding down the menu input button, it will then allow you to go in and adjust all the settings from illumination, macros, actuations, profiles, settings, and so forth. Then it has the metal roller, which allows you to scroll through all these settings and completely change whatever your presets might be. Change up your profile, go from one setting into the next, and get into the actuations, which are the Omni point function switches that we're really highlighting here when it comes to this keyboard. A lot of base features, but at the same time, high-end features that you can adjust and play with when it comes to the world of gaming, or if you want to just use it for everyday use, allowing you to switch out the profile as you go each and every day. Work function, gameplay, completely up to you, and a sweet and quick and easy function. To back out of the menu, it's quite simple. Just tap the menu button and it brings you back to the last feature you were at, or completely out of it and right back to the display screen itself. Taking an overall look at the keyboard itself, you'll notice the USB pass-through port, the OLED Smart Display, a metal roller for all your functions, and the menu button. When we take a look at the back of the keyboard, you'll have the note that there is 3 different ports that we're able to route our cord through for just better management when it comes to laying it out on your computer table. We also have the magnetic wrist rest, which is this hard-like surface, but it has the soft rubbery texture to the top of it. It's actually quite comfortable and very smooth. One of the nice features that comes with the SteelSeries is the actual SteelSeries engine that allows you to go in and completely customize your keyboard, your mouse, or headphones, depending on what product you have, and well, that's no different when it comes to the Apex Pro. So let's check that out. Something to take note on is the ability of onboard profiles. Giving us 5 different configurations gives us the ability to have 1 for gaming, 2 for everyday use, and maybe 3 for editing that we do here at Inside the Game, making our life quick, easy, and simple. We can customize the key bindings, meta bindings, actuations that we touched on earlier, how sensitive you want these keys to react. Something to take note of here is not all these keys have that ability. If you're left-handed, that might be a problem because you might want to use the arrow keys. But we can also get into illuminations and of course the OLED and settings here that we touched on earlier with the roller. My time with the SteelSeries Apex Pro mechanical gaming keyboard has been awesome, but there's definitely a few little notes to take away from. Because it is a more compact keyboard, they've actually slimmed down the enter button. More of a personal thing just because I have clumsy fingers and I like the bigger enter button, but that's something I've noticed when I was using the keyboard. Also take note, when you're connecting the keyboard to your PC, it does require you to use 2 3.0 USB slots. So if you're already crammed for space, this could become an issue. However, it didn't really affect me. It does work great. I've loved the keyboard. It's smooth. It's so smooth. The way the keys feel are really nice, sensitive, and just fit my hand very well as I'm typing away. One of the highlights, actually, one of the better computer keyboards I've used in a very long time. It was awesome to have. Also take note that the fact that this comes in at a price tag of $200. It's not cheap, but I think it's a lot there for your dollar as well. You're getting a solid keyboard. It doesn't flex, it doesn't break, it won't bend, and it's not flimsy. It's a solid keyboard. I had a great time. This keyboard is well worth the $200 in my time, and it comes in at an 8.5. The Apex Pro mechanical gaming keyboard is nearly perfection at your fingertips. The Omni point switches are great for every gamer, and the OLED Smart Display makes this easy and accessible. It is a bit pricey, and 2 3.0 USB slots could present a problem for some. Guys, one of the biggest pieces of news coming out this week was the fact that PlayStation has partnered with Discord. We all heard the rumors that Microsoft was looking at buying Discord for $10 billion. Turns out that's not happening at all, and they're actually partnering with PlayStation. Corey, what are your thoughts on this move?
Well, I mean, we're all Discord users, right? And it's a great platform. We have an awesome community, and it gives us the options, you know, to just be able to interact with everybody from anywhere. You know, it's not Xbox to Xbox, PlayStation to PlayStation. So Discord's making the right move. They didn't let Microsoft buy them out. They're expanding. They want their platform on other platforms. So they go to Sony, they say, hey, you guys have a crap communication system. Let's do something about it. You know what I mean? That's probably not how the conversation exactly went.
Not.
But let's get real here. That's what PlayStation needs. And the fact is, if we're going to get Discord in the capacity that we currently use it on PC on Sony PlayStation, I'm telling you, man, this is going to start opening doors for cross-play, cross-platform. I'm telling you, I think Sony's finally broken that wall down. And this is kind of the next step in kind of opening up that door. Nate, I don't know about you, but I think this is only good news. I know people think maybe Microsoft's getting slighted here, but honestly, I think Discord may circle back to Microsoft after they integrate in Sony and maybe pick some of those things that work there and use it back at Microsoft. I don't know. There's lots of stuff going on right now, but I think all of it's positive.
Yeah, and you know, Xbox, they kind of have their toes dipped in the Discord pool, but I think maybe we'll have what Twitch did with PlayStation. Remember when Twitch was integrated with PlayStation and then it was nowhere to be found on Xbox until like a year or two later? Maybe we'll see something similar to this. Hopefully not that long, because like you were saying, Corey, it's about connecting everybody with games, man. In today's age, games are pumping out regularly, and multiplayer games especially. So to keep those games alive, crossplay, and then of course to have Discord everywhere available would just be perfect. I love this platform. I think it's great. And although I did kind of want Microsoft to buy them, if that would have made, you know, open up the doors to everyone, but if not, like, maybe it's a good thing. They want to remain independent. So I really hope to see, you know, I'm excited to see when I get my PlayStation 5 to see Discord on it, you know, next year at some time, and then hopefully on my Series X the, you know, following 6 months or so.
No, absolutely. It opens up the doors, right? The biggest thing, like we were talking about this off camera, the fact that Northern Nerdcast that I played the other day, we played Outriders. Okay, I'm on the Xbox Series X, he's over on the PlayStation, and neither one of us could talk to each other within the game. You do this cross-play, but there's no communication there. How do you solve that? You bring in Discord. Dude, it just elevates everything now to that next level. It brings communities together. It's going to bring Xbox and PlayStation communities together as one cohesive area to have that communication. It's breaking down barriers, right? We saw finally that PlayStation gave up the ghost and said, yeah, okay, we'll do crossplay with Fortnite, right? We just talked about this not too long ago. But, you know, when you take a look at Discord and you get 140 million monthly users, and then PlayStation and all their users, because PlayStation 4, huge numbers, PlayStation 5, huge numbers as well. It'd be even higher if they had stock, you know, and Xbox too. But then that's the thing, we're now bringing everybody into one pool, which is fantastic, and it's only better for gamers. It does make me kind of curious because PlayStation isn't exactly known for playing well with others, so you know, it has, they're starting to kind of come around a little bit, but at the same time it makes me go, what else is up their sleeve? Because there's got to be something in it for them too, right? Let's be honest.
I think that since they just put, it's, you know, a minority share, it's not like they have much say in anything. I think this is just them, you know, getting just a little piece of that pie and not being like, no, this is my pie and then you get this little bit, you know what I mean?
True. Yeah, no, it's hopefully it's a good move. I think it is the right move at this point, like you said, Nate. You know, it's all about bringing everybody together with this whole crossplay now thing being a huge thing. Every game now wants to come out and have as much reach as possible. How do you connect the online community? You let them play wherever they want and then bring them all together in one pool. That's the future of where games are looking as of right now. We'll see what the future holds. Let us know what your thoughts are. PlayStation partnership with Discord over at InsideTheGame.ca.
Alright, Scott, looks like we're trying to survive in this sci-fi experience of Chernobylite.
Сообщает, что в связи с аварией на Чернобыльской атомной электростанции в городе Припяти складывается неблагоприятная радиационная обстановка.
You can't touch or smell it.
Alright, Scott, this week we got our hands on a game that's in early access, Chernobylite. And to be fair, this game is a blend of a ton of genres to make in my opinion, a very good experience. You got survival, you got some horror, you got some base building, you got first person shooting and stealth. It's just a combination of all these elements to make this very much story driven game where you are set off as Igor, and at the very beginning you're kind of just already on this mission. You've hired 2 mercenaries to help you find your wife that was lost during the events of Chernobyl, and you believe that she is still there. So as your mission unfolds, of course it goes south. You end up leaving and barely escaping with one of the mercenaries, and from there you're at your base and you have the option to start this heist or the main mission of you trying to find your wife again, but ultimately you need to build up your base, find more companions, and that's where this game starts off, dude.
Yes, there's a very big emphasis on building and growth and kind of establishing a bastion of units to forage through Pripyat with you, which is really interesting because you can kind of attack different objectives at the same time with the help of your companions. There's a lot of mission variety where you do have this main kind of quest, so to speak, in front of you. You're there for a reason to find your wife, but there's a lot of other contending with some units, some military units that are in the area, and getting enough resources to survive long enough to see your quest out. And that leaves you doing a lot of interesting things like raiding caravans and convoys for weapons, ammo, food, and the like. You have to explore and do a lot of irradiated areas, so you have to take precautions against that and craft a lot of things to reduce your radiation level, restore your health, and monitor your sanity, which is actually really interesting in this kind of a shooter because there's a lot of supernatural elements at work. It becomes obvious very early on that something extra dimensional perhaps is happening with this Pripyat in ruins. It's really hard to kind of see exactly what happened, but that's what you discover over the course of the game. You have a lot of interesting devices to use, one being the portal gun that you can use to get yourself out of a pinch, but it seems to feed on the energy of the Chernobylite itself, the title of the game, but also a unique element that you find in the environment scattered about. So there's a lot of things active in this game at the same time. You have a lot of kind of strategizing and building up your resources, a lot of survival aspect, but when it comes down to the actual action, a lot of times you're either stealthing through an area, really hoping not to be seen, or it breaks into a harder combat, directive, very brutal, and in my case, unforgiving kind of combat.
Oh, man.
But that's kind of the risk and the reward. It's a very unique charm to this game, and something that I've been really enjoying. How did you handle the different systems going on?
Well, speaking about the combat, I actually really enjoyed it. I found myself, of course, stealthing as much as possible because as you're doing all these encounters and killing people, you're actually leveling yourself up, which is a huge aspect of this game, is the RPG. The companions that you find, they actually teach you skills with these skill points, which some of them will just be increase your inventory size, or it'll be do more headshot damage, or something along those lines. It's just a nice addition to this game with all the other elements that are, of course, going on. But man, the combat, like you said, once all hell breaks loose, if you end up shooting them and then the whole camp knows about it, you can actually get caught. And this, which I thought was really unique, because my experience was very different from yours, because when I got caught, I woke up and I had to then break out and find all my weapons and my stash and then escape the prison cell or the jail. But your experience, like I said, was different. How was it?
Yes, mine was, well, I was quite nervous, not sure what I'm going to do to get out of this prison cell. This is not where I imagined the game was going to go at all. and then I found a familiar face that had walked by, and he said, "Oh, hello, it's you. I remembered you, and I owe you my life." And he gives me my pack, all of my items back, opens the jail cell and says, "Don't tell anyone." And that was my encounter. Now, I had kind of worked with this man before. I found him in a mission, several missions prior, and he actually was stuck in a wall. Now, without explaining too much of what was going on, he cried out for help. I found him just completely secondary to the objective of the mission, and I found a way to help him, to keep him alive, and he swore that he owes me his life. Now, I didn't get to recruit him quite like I was expecting. He didn't just join my camp, but he did become very important in a mission several missions later. Now, there's a lot of different kind of random encounters that happen like that. There's another man I saw getting arrested in a parking lot. I intervened, and now I'm kind of expecting to see him pop up again somewhere, even if it's in the form of a salesman. Because as you're exploring these wide open maps, you do find other scavengers that are willing to trade with you and barter, and it kind of increases this atmosphere.
Может, ты его видел?
Увы, как-то не довелось. А что такое?
Я ищу своего брата, Афанасия. Он недавно исчез без следа. Я уже все тут обыскал.
So I think, okay, with all these elements, part of this really cool first-person experience, man, what are you going to score Chernobylite?
Oh, this Chernobylite, there's a lot to get into. So if it seems like we have skipped some things that you've noticed, that's likely to happen. Nobody's going to have the exact same experience playing this game. And I think that also adds to the charm. But audio-wise, there's a lot of Russian, which makes sense geographically. There's a lot of creepy, kind of crawly noises with the paranormal stuff. And the game on my system looked absolutely beautiful. So that combined with the very unique playstyle of this, I'm in with an 8.5. I was blown away.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So like we did touch up on earlier, this game is in early access, but it's been out for quite a while now, and its full release is just around the corner come mid-summertime. So if I were to score this awesome survival first-person base building horror experience, man, 8 from me, man.
Excellent.
A masterful mix of subgenres that each lead to meaningful gameplay. A compelling storyline and side quests make for a mysterious and intense experience.
I am back with part 2 of our last Oasis interview. Lucas and I had so much to talk about, we had to break it out into 2 sections. Here it is, part 2. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the privilege and honor to welcome Lucas from Donkey Crew to talk about Last Oasis. What is your favorite part about the game right now?
So my favorite part about the game, I play mostly solo, and
You do,
I enjoy
really?
myself. Yeah, I do. Like I like because I really like the crafting. I
Yeah.
really like just harvesting and crafting, and like I really like the ambience. Like I really enjoy like the mood that we created in the game. Like the music by Michał Korniewicz, it's awesome. Like just going, like chopping trees, getting the stones and like coming back to my base. I really enjoyed how we did on season 2, that we actually one of the biggest selling points of the game is that differently from other survival games, you can actually save log out, but then we also like missed out on the opportunity of having safe bases.
Yeah.
Right, so we kind of like mixed that together, and on season 2 we developed the founder walker, so you have like the cellar and the balang, which you can actually drive it outside, but it also can be deployed as a stone base that is way more harder to loot, right, to raid.
Yeah.
So I love that. I really like that. So I would just go to my base and make it like kind of architectural, kind of like brutalist architecture, and just like put my chest there, go there. If I see someone, I just run back and just go there, like to figure out like in my windows if they are friendly or not. Sometimes you have some really nice encounters, sometimes not, of course.
Yeah.
But the part that I like the most is like kind of progressing and crafting stuff. Kind of like I really wanted to make like a village or something.
That's a lot of work.
Yes, and I love like when the community also do some stuff. When they go in private servers and even the official ones that they make their villages, they like put some walls on it, or make they make racing tracks or something like that, because they're also like this sandbox approach on the game, which is the thing that actually made me fall in love with the project when I first joined, which is still there, even though we have a lot of mechanics for doing what we expect you to do. The players are also using it to race spider walkers, so that's awesome.
I like the snowball effect when you start to get in the crafting mechanic, because when you start to get into one side, it then opens up and then just kind of builds upon that, and then that digs even deeper as you progress further and throughout the game. Last night I was on, found that you guys actually implemented the hard biomes. Now they are now located on the servers, because when you first initially launched it, wasn't it only easy and medium? There was no hard servers there. Hard servers were there now. I jumped in, I went over top this hill, came down to a clan, and I'm like, okay, I'm solo now at this point too. Nerves go right up through the roof, because every time I typically go on, I get just raked over the coals and I lose my walker or die or something. These guys had some of the biggest walkers I've seen yet in the game. They're massive. How big can our walkers become?
Well, they are gigantic. The walkers are kind of like predefined, right? So you have like tiers of walkers that you can build.
Yeah.
And like the biggest one, which is like the Titan walker. And of course, the Caravella walker goes even further. The Schmetterling. But a Caravella, I guess, is just an internal name.
Okay.
Show to you guys. But it's a Schmetterling walker. Yeah, they can be massive. Like I actually like don't usually, of course, not on the official servers. I've never had like a big walker in official servers, because we don't cheat, like we don't cheat for developers in the official servers. I cannot just give myself some money there. I need to grind that. And I rage quit Last Oasis sometimes, because you're there like kind of like 3 hours grinding, then someone and then you lost those times. Like I learned a lot, but now let's do something else. Let's play 2K or something. That happens with me as well. But of course, I test the game every day, and like sometimes we're testing with the bigger walkers. Now that we are like doing a lot of tests before releasing the worm, for an example. But I've been in the first season. I actually joined a big clan, kind of like undercover, to see how they work and also to see if they were cheating. So I played with a big clan sometimes, and like, man, it's like, to me, it's so massive. As a developer, like we know like the core basics of the game, right? We make you have this chest and you have this mechanic, you have this, but the players, and with the player numbers, they can do stuff that we don't even dream of. Like they bend the game completely. And so first time that I joined like this big clan that was like taking over all of North America probably in the season 1, and I joined like one of their bases, like the main bases, like I don't know, there were probably like 1,000 chests, extremely well organized. Wow. And like a lot of stuff there. Like I was like, wow, this is a gigantic operation going on here. So and so we also like moved on a lot of big walkers, but it depends on what you were doing. I was not getting too much on the big walkers because I was not much of a fighter myself. I was more like just doing the grinding, getting a lot of resources. So I would just use the spider walker when I was going alone, or like the toboggan when we're going like 2 to 5 people to grab a lot of resources. But when it gets to fighting, you get the buffalo, which is like a tank. And I don't know, there's a bunch of them. Of course, some of them are more meta than the others, right? Some of them are unbalanced. Players hate the Tusker Walker, for an example, because they do want to do some stuff that like it was not intended. It was just to be like a bigger toboggan, to be only on the outskirts of the map.
Okay.
But it didn't work out that much, and we are like kind of finding out how do we actually repurpose this walker. But there's a lot of these situations that we see from people playing the game. But there's just a lot of variety of playing styles.
Absolutely. Was there any walkers that you guys created that never made it to the game?
That's a good question. I do think so. Most of them we repurposed them. Like I think that there were some designs that didn't make it to the game, but I guess the walker in the end kind of like made it. I remember that we had some different designs for the mollusk before it was shaped like this kind of like insect kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The firefly also had some other designs, but in the end, I guess all of the walkers that we kind of like started to make, they actually released. We did some other different parts of the walker as well that didn't make it to the game, like for an example, different legs that would like you would unlock. But of course, we have like the armored legs. You have different wings, and there's stuff that might even come to the game later. But at this point, I actually don't think that we are not holding off on any walker at the moment. Of course, we are developing some, but
sure.
The ones that we wanted to deploy are there.
So more walkers are on the way.
Possibly, like it's a game about walkers, right? So like right now we are not like one thing also like that it's good to make clear, like we're not that big of a team. Like
well, I want to touch on that.
It's actually very big. The game is very big, and we're not that big of a team. So it depends on the focus right now.
How many people are at Donkey Crew?
So right now we are around like 35 people.
Yeah.
But like counting with contractors. We actually grew to like almost 50 at some point, but like right now we are like in like 30 to 35. Right. Counting with people that work like outside of the office as well. But it fluctuates a little bit, but it's not that big. Like if you, and of course 35 counting everyone, you know. So you go to the coding department, there are like 4 people. There you go to the artists, there are like 7 people, and so it's difficult right now. Sometimes like of course, I'm the producer, right? So I need to kind of like organize all of this with my fellow project managers.
Sure.
But sometimes you can actually pump more assets than you can implement. And of course, like we always strive for more, right? We always kind of have like we strive a little bit for more. And there are some stuff. Right? We have creatures that are kind of ready to be implemented, but they are not implemented yet. And there's like a lot of work that needs to come to that, and sometimes then you come with the Xbox release, for an example, you kind of shift your coders for like fixing critical bugs or stuff like that. It's one of the things that, like, to me personally as a producer, was one of the things that also made me want to develop Last Oasis, was this kind of like the early access live operations phase.
Sure.
And I can say that it's awesome, but it's also very heated, right? It's a lot of pressure. From the community also, like, yeah, you rock, that's awesome, but like this sucks, right? And we need to learn how to not take that personal and kind of like filter to that feedback to actually get not only what players want, but what makes sense to the game, what we can actually develop. Some inefficiencies occur from time to time, but we're doing our best there, like to kind of like push more meaningful content. And I really think that the next update is going to be, the community is going to love it, because they are waiting for this worm for a long time.
Right now, everybody can find it on Xbox Game Preview. Where does the future lie with next-gen consoles? Is there a PlayStation conversation in the works, or is it going to be something that we always talk about on the show almost daily right now on ITG Daily, with the fact of Game Pass? Will that ever come to Game Pass?
Well, I cannot answer that question because I don't know. But definitely it's interesting, right? For a game like ours, Game Pass is definitely very appealing. But of course, it boils down to the business decisions, and with Microsoft. Microsoft has been a very good partner to us. Like the porting period was nice. The release was awesome. We were featured also like in the first ID at Xbox event. We were having like keys being handed out by Major Nelson. So it was a nice introduction to the Xbox ecosystem. And of course, game preview is like a smaller percentage of the user base that are actually interested in game preview. So we are actually like very excited to grow on that environment. Regarding PlayStation, of course, that's something that personally I would love to do. Having like a game that you make on the consoles that you've played since you were, like a toddler, not a toddler, but like, I was a kid, and that is awesome for every game developer. So I would love to have that. But of course, PlayStation doesn't have the in-development program yet, so we would need to bring Last Oasis to 1.0, kind of like full release until we actually can bring it to PlayStation. Next gen is definitely something that we want. Like Last Oasis, also, we do have some issues, like kind of with the consoles. Like you can see, like I have my smaller Series X, Series S here. So this one do great. The Series X does great. The Xbox One X and the One also does great. But of course, there are some limitations, right? They're a little bit older. Some stuff that we did for the PC game that consumes more memory than a console actually are used to. Then we actually had some issues with some crashes that we are fixing. We definitely did. With the last update, we fixed like most of the crashes that we had, but we still have some out-of-memory crashes from the base Xbox. And we have our engineers kind of looking into it and fixing it. So the next gen is also super appealing because we can actually like ramp up instead of ramping down the quality of the graphics and everything to kind of like be more performant. We can actually ramp it up and make it look better. For now, it's an Xbox One game that runs into Series S and X via backwards compatibility, which is great. I do play on the Series X, and the closest experience that you would get with the visuals and stuff for the PC would be the Series X, definitely. But it's running and running well on all of the consoles, and we're making it more performant every time. But this game preview program is also going to be awesome for us to kind of like make the game be in a state that is better for everyone, both for the PC and the Xbox. Because one thing that I also would like to clarify, like it's the same game. It's like it's the same system. It's the same. The builds are made from the same source code and the same source assets. So that was actually pretty daring to do. It was not that easy. Usually you have like maintaining like two versions, and we actually were able to like make a single one that kind of works on both platforms for also like help with the crossplay. But we have kind of like a very good base. Now it's actually bringing some more content and also like making the game more performant, making it more optimized both on PC and on consoles, so we can actually like bring it further with a next gen version and then hit the PlayStation at some point. But yeah, there's a lot going on, and I do hope that we actually hit Game Pass at some point, because for this kind of game, it's definitely a good place to be.
Absolutely. Lucas, I know you got to run, so I don't want to take too much of your time anymore. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Been a blast. I want to have you back on the show. You're always welcome back. We will do this again in the future. Everybody, go check out Last Oasis on Steam, as well as Game Preview on Xbox.
There's no doubt when Fall Guys was originally released on PlayStation and PC, it was a huge hit. I mean, it was just a really fun battle royale that you could jump in with your friends or without and just have a good time. I mean, the cutesy little characters, the absolute mania of a level that they throw out in front of you. I mean, this game had it all, especially if you just wanted to have a real fun, casual experience that was really competitive. But over time, I think the player base has pulled back a little bit. I mean, they do seasonal updates all the time. There's still a huge community here. By no means is this game dead, but all I mean is that the fact that it was only ever originally released on PlayStation and PC kind of limited the market slightly. I mean, where was the Xbox and Switch versions? They did originally say that it was going to be slated for the summer of 2021, but unfortunately Mediatonic has just released that it is going to be delayed. But they said with the bad, we are getting some good. The reason it's being delayed is so they can add features like crossplay and cross progression. So hopefully, because originally we didn't even have crossplay between PC and PlayStation. So it'd be nice to be able to get a game like this because it should have crossplay. I should be able to play with my friends on PlayStation or PC if I'm on Xbox or Switch. So it's nice to see that we're going to be getting some of those features added, but it is a bummer that we're going to be delayed. There is no official word on how long we're going to have to wait for it, but they did say it's going to be worth the wait. So Mediatonic, I'm telling you right now, it better be.
Alright, big news coming from Xbox and our beloved developer, IO. Now, these are only rumors, but rumors from a very reliable source. So, what I'm talking about is a brand new IP coming from IO that will be exclusive to Xbox. Now, what this game is called is Project Dragon. This really excites me. The Hitman series is amazing, and we recently found out that IO is working on a new James Bond title. So to see this company expand itself and kind of dip its toes in other genres and other games, wow, this is awesome. And Project Dragon, I mean, a third world RPG fantasy game, that's what I'm kind of getting from this title. I am absolutely in. If you guys are excited for this game or have some thoughts on what Project Dragon is, hit us up on our Discord or of course on our website.
Well, it looks like there's another class action lawsuit that's in the works at the moment, and this time it's a PlayStation user alleges Sony of an illegal monopoly over digital games purchased on its platform. Now, this lawsuit was filed on May the 5th from a California court. Now, previously, if you want to purchase a digital game for PlayStation, you could always go to a third-party retailer such as GameStop and Amazon, and you might be able to pick up this game for a little bit cheaper than the PlayStation Store. But unfortunately in 2019, Sony put their foot down and said, no more. The only way you want to purchase a digital game is to get it through our store. This is the only place where to get it. Now, the lawyers of the lawsuit actually wrote that popular games sell for an average 75% more digitally on the PlayStation Store than those sold physically. That number could be up to 175% more at its highest, according to the lawsuit. Sony made $17 billion in revenue over the fiscal year that ended March 31st, 2021 from digital PlayStation games and other content purchased on the PlayStation Network. The company said in an earnings report, lawyers said $7 billion of that may be due to overcharging via the alleged monopoly on downloads from the PlayStation Store. Bear in mind, there's another lawsuit that's running at the moment, and in court is Apple versus Epic Games over the alleged Apple's antitrust violation. But also, you've got to take in consideration as well, Epic Games is partially funded by Sony as well, as they injected $450 million into Fortnite and the Unreal Engine maker as well. So let's hope Sony's got some really deep pockets, because it sounds like they're going to need it to pay off all these lawyers.
Steve, this week we're putting our dukes up and we're going to try to fight our way out of this one. Steve, this week we're checking out a pretty cool turn-based action game Fights in Tight Spaces. We're playing this one on Steam. And I don't know, I know you probably haven't played a ton of these games. I've played a few games like this, Slay the Spire being probably one of the closest draws or kind of closest comparisons to this style of game. And we kind of get a bit of a John Wick feel here a little bit, don't we? Because the main character is basically Agent 11, and we're kind of tasked with kind of moving along and getting through and taking out this biker gang, and then as we move through the story, you know, we're starting to take out ninjas and other things along the way. It's a very interesting game. It's very stylized. I think it kind of looks a lot like Super Hot in the sense that, you know, it's very white, black, red. The enemies are all red. I mean, it just has that look to it. I thought it was actually done pretty well. I had a lot of fun jumping into it, but what were your kind of initial reactions, Steve?
Well, this is my very first turn-based tactical card-playing game. I played card games before, like that turn-based thing, but this was a little bit unique for me because all the cards in your hand are just combat moves, whether it's a jab or if it's a kick or punch or a push. And the push does come in handy, or a head smash, but you also get movement cards as well and things like that. Going to the art style, the simplicity of it works wonders with this game. Your character, as you said, Agent 11, you're a silhouette of a guy, all blacked out, and your enemies are different colours depending on their strengths or their abilities. And you start off with the basic ones, which are just red, just red characters. The background, like you said, it's just black and white, and you get outlines of obstacles on the actual map. Tiles, floor systems for you to move, and you can move your camera around. And I had so much fun, but boy, it was tough. The best way I could think of it is it's got to kind of be like a chess player. It's definitely a strategic kind of game that is very good and hard to master.
Oh, I hear you, man. That's the style of these games, right? They're punishing, and there is a bit of a learning curve because these games, it's all about the strategy. You're moving around in this particular game at very tight space. Every map that you drop into usually has, 2 to 5 enemies initially, and we don't have a ton of a grid space here to move around. It's usually a small gas station or the inside of a bar. That's the idea here. We're supposed to be doing a lot of hand-to-hand combat. Some of the enemies will have guns and other styles of weapons as you kind of move through these levels, and you travel through on the map, and it's node based, so we kind of start off in one spot and then we can branch out on separate paths depending on kind of how we want to determine how that run is going to go. And we may run into medical tents where we can get health back, or we may be able to upgrade our weapons along the way, or our cards, so to say. And the idea here is that there's a basic kind of all-around deck that we get to start with. And the way the combat works is we get action points. Well, fans of the genre will know action points is what we normally call them. This game actually calls them momentum points. So these momentum points are actually labeled on the cards, and depending on, the type of attack or the movement, they'll cost a certain amount of momentum. So you usually start the round with 3 momentum and kind of move from there. Sometimes cards will grant you more or refresh points that you've used. So depending on the deck you use, there's actually 5 separate decks outside of the main deck, and they kind of all specialize in a different area. I found that the defensive deck really worked for me because I use the block a lot, which is kind of a shield in the sense that it gives you more points on top of your hit points for your character. Because once you're dead here, Steve, you're dead, and it doesn't matter where you are in this run. I'm kind of going full circle here with the difficulty. You're gonna die, and you're gonna have to start all over again. And that can be the frustrating portion here, especially if you're a new player to this genre. It can be very difficult to get into if you're just kind of being punished over and over again. But I know, Steve, we definitely had a really good time with certain aspects of this game, but when we get into the upgrading and the currency we get, I know you had a bit of an issue.
Oh, yes. Oh, definitely. Because if you get a certain amount of moves to complete an area, they'll say like you can do it in 5 turns, 6 turns, whatever. And the idea is if you do it in those times, you get currency. And I think it was only is it like 30 euros or something like that?
Yeah.
And then you and then as you progress, there'll be the waypoints of like medical, where you can actually go in there and you can upgrade your cards, buy some health and this. But you never have enough currency to start off with to upgrade your health or even just improve it. And if you do, I think it only goes up by about 5 points or something, whatever your maximum health level bar is. Mm-hmm. So I found that very frustrating because every time I got past medical points, if I died, I have to redo it all over again.
Yeah.
But also, summarising what you were saying about the upgrades and the movement of the place, of the gameplay, I definitely like the like defensive ones, like you said, like the pushing. I like the push card, because if you can push an enemy out of a door, then they're out altogether.
Yes.
That eliminates it. The other one I did like, I know it's a bit gory, and you will get quite a few blood splatters on these nice white walls.
Yes, you will.
It's the head smash. That one was another cool one. I like the head smash ones, because if they're a lower enemy, then it will just wipe them out altogether. I just want to add one little bit as well.
Yeah.
The other bit as well they've added in this is, it reminds me of like the John Wick Hex.
Yes.
Is once you complete a mission, you can actually replay and watch the video of the combat fight.
Yes.
And I thought that was such a sweet, cool touch where you see your character doing the punching and kicking them out. And oh, that looks pretty cool. So I do like that extra feature they added in this game as well, to actually see the replay without any distractions of just the walkthrough of everything. So that was a nice, cool feature. I like to sort of touch on that idea as well.
No, for sure, man. That was great.
So I think we've kind of, I mean, for a simplistic game, but very hard and challenging, I think we've touched on everything here of the premises of the game. So fights in tight spaces, where are you going to score this one?
You know what? I had a tough time initially because I'm not great at these games, I'll self-admit, but I do enjoy them. And this game, I really did enjoy. I thought it was simple enough. It taught me how to get into the game really quickly, really easily. I love the art style. The music kind of just was, you know, the finishing touch. It kind of just added to everything, enhanced the entire experience. I got to give this one a 7.5, Steve.
I'm with you. I love the art style, the music. It is very addictive, but I did get very frustrated and a bit repetitive on keep doing the Bikers Gang one over and over and over again. And I was a little bit disappointed as well with the currency when you actually do complete these chapters in certain card moves. So like you, I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10.
Nice.
With its unique art style, the stylish blend of combat deck building, turn-based tactics is a lot of fun. But if you die through the chapter, you have to start back at the beginning, which becomes very repetitive, fighting the same enemy again. And completing areas within the set amount of moves does not reward you enough currency to purchase health or upgrades to continue.
Well, that'll wrap up everything for today. Thank you for hanging out with us. But you can always be a part of our show. All you have to do is go to insidethegame.ca or hit us up in our Discord just like GameZub did. He submitted his clip. Well, looks like he got a little frightened. Until next time, everybody, thanks again, and we'll see you inside the game.
Wait, can I craft anything right now? Alright. Oh god. Oh god, guys. Oh! No! Oh my god! Dude, did you see that? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh! No!